Hi, my name's John. I'm a designer and a researcher and part of the Museum of Care project. And I want to use this time to think about, maybe ask some questions. Always seems to be kind of the mode that I'm in as a designer. And the one I want to start with is, well, what is a museum? Is it a place, a physical place, a building with doors and windows and shelves and cupboards? Is it a space where people can meet, can circulate, can look at things, touch things, walk around things? It's all those things. Is it a place for storage? Half of what we see in museums is a fraction of what museums own and what they contain. And most museums have huge warehouses and storage units full of things that are never shown or shown very, very rarely, but they're stored potentially forever. The preservationist mindset. Is a museum for learning things? Well, sure, sometimes it is, and we can learn a lot by going to museums, but we can only learn about the things that are in there. It is a bounded set of things that we can learn. Are museums for preserving things? Well, yeah, they seem to be, dominated by the need to keep things safe and present them degrading and present them turning into other things by decaying or rotting or otherwise degrading in some way. And it makes me think, or ask the question, well, what kinds of things should go in a museum? Should they be old things, and how are those things valued? And who decides what goes in and what doesn't? And there are lots of things in museums that are wonderful, that we think, this is great, I love this in a museum. And other things we think, why on earth is this here? Who decided this? Or where was this stolen from? Shouldn't it be given back? Thinking more deeply about it, we might say, well, what are things? Do they consist of materials arranged in a certain way? Can things also be rooms in themselves? We certainly see that museums now contain films, and in some cases they host performances, and they may be types of artifacts that would never have been considered, that would go in a museum, perhaps when the museum was designed or when it was built. Then it makes me think, well, what do we mean by care? And I think what we mean by care in this context is really has a prefix. I think we're talking about radical care. I think we do mean, yes, we care about each other, and we care about the world, and we care about society, and we care about what things mean and how they mean. But perhaps more radically, we want to think about centering care as a function for humanity and a purpose. What kinds of things then would a museum of radical care contain, and how would people experience them? They are the things that keep me awake and the things that I'm interested in thinking about. And I think those things are very intangible. I think they consist of groupings of people that have things to say or things to do, or are already doing things. And those things are organizations and structures, and they may of course be physical things and artifacts that are woven and photographed and entangled amongst each other. And I think the Museum of Care contains all those entities, those expressions of life. That's what the Museum of Care is for me. And as a designer, that's what I'm interested in thinking about designing.